painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking. KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Art Beat. Art Beat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Art Beat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Today on Art Beat, we continue with part 2 of conversing with actors Tara Flanagan and Benjamin Boucvalt about the magic and hard work of performing on stage this year at the Great River Shakespeare Festival. The festival's 2026 season features 2 classic plays, A Midsummer Night's Dream and Pericles, Prince of Tyre, and will be held at the Ark. We'll get to look at the experiences of being in a new location and theater magic. I'm Kristine Osorio, inviting you to join me as we talk all things Great River Shakespeare Festival Part 2 with talented actors Tara Flanagan and Benjamin Boucvalt on Art Beat.
We keep coming back to Shakespeare because of his language. I got excited about Shakespeare originally because of all the action in it, but it's his language that we're really drawn to. And sometimes you can be seduced by the language, by feeling like you need to fix it or make it sound a certain way, when a lot of times you just need to be the person who's saying the language. And I think I came in initially to Shakespeare thinking there was a certain quality of sound. Like I might be to be or not to be. I wasn't doing that, but close maybe. But I was just putting on a voice of what I thought Shakespeare would sound like. And then that actually took a while to fade away for me to find my own voice. Because those are the things that's most interesting. If you see a musical artist who's just impersonating, Bob Dylan, it might sound good, but, people really aren't drawn because it's a copy of something else. And so I really found my own voice here at the festival. So over time, discovering what my own voice and what my voice sounds like speaking these lines is an evolution that I really had over the many years that I've been here at the festival. And then the other thing of just remembering that these words already have so much power, and so to not get in the way of them and to just let the language guide me to the audience. I would say those are the two big things. That
with age comes that ability to just drop in and let the externals kind of fade away. So hopefully I've learned some of that too. But something that I learned specifically at this festival is how to do what's called direct address to the audience. So in the time of Shakespeare's festival, they had, in the time of Shakespeare's theater, they had to perform their plays during the day because they didn't have lighting. So it was outdoor theater, sort of a building around the outside where people could sit, but it was open to the sky so that you would have lighting. And the idea of the fourth wall, which is an invisible wall between you and the audience so that you never see the audience, that was invented much later. And they didn't have that practice of pretending that the audience wasn't there. So because they could literally see them and it was daytime, you could always be talking to the audience. If you had a great argument and you're trying to convince this guy over here to do what you want to do, you might turn to the audience and kind of enlist them in the argument, make the argument to them to get them on your side. And then sometimes there are speeches where you're giving a speech to 1,000 troops if you're Henry V. You might have your 5 guys on stage who are to represent the 1,000 troops. But you can just turn it out to the audience and essentially make them your 1,000 troops. So there are speeches and then what are called soliloquies where the character's talking to themselves. And those can also be a conversation with the audience. But when I grew up, we were seeing films and the directors had been brought up in sort of the mid and late 20th century. And in the mid and late 20th century, when there was so much film, directors, even theater directors, began to think it was really interesting for all of the soliloquies to just be something that was happening privately inside the character's head. And so they really disengaged from the audience and just had sort of private thoughts that the audience was overhearing. Nothing wrong with that. They just thought that was really interesting at the time. And they really explored it. And so that's what I grew up doing. And then here, the directors said, look, that fourth wall never existed. That's not how the plays are written. We're going to take it away again. We're going to talk to people. But I had never done it. And so when I first started to do it, I cannot even tell you how frightened I was. The first time I just had 2 lines that needed to go to the audience. And I took the director aside and I was like, look, I've never done this before. Female characters don't have as many soliloquies. I've never practiced this. And he was like, oh, just do it. Just pretend they're your best friend or something and just do it. I was so bad at it. I was terrible at it. But then because it's something I've had an opportunity to practice over and over again with different directors who can give me more hints, or I can watch somebody else who knows how to do it really well, and I can just sit on the sideline and be like, okay, I can steal that, I can steal that, I can steal that. I can just learn from watching him. So much of what I learn is just by watching other people. But I feel really grateful because without practice, you don't get better. Somebody can explain an idea to you. If you're not doing it all the time, you cannot improve. And I have been so lucky to have many opportunities to practice that. And now it's like my favorite thing because then I'm always in conversation. The audience is always filled with my best friends. And that is a great experience that I never would have had, I don't think, if I didn't work here.
I love, physicality on stage. So any movement-based things, fights, even dances, which I'm not the best dancer, but I mean, I love moving on stage. But the thing I look forward to the most, I think, is the audience. Because the reason we go to live theater is that no performance is the same. This isn't a movie. When people are coming, everyone gets, it's the same story, but everyone's getting a little bit different of an experience. And a lot of that times it's all because we are only in communion with the audience. There's no show without the audience. And sometimes audiences can be excited, they can be loud, they can be quiet, there could be few, it could be sold out. And all that informs what's going on on the stage. And then sometimes that will inform other things, and it charges actors in a certain way, and then a certain energy now flows through the whole show, and you could feel it. It's this new ray of light that's like shining through the entire production that only those people that were there on that night and that time got to experience. And so they might go to a friend and say, you got to see this show. They did this thing. This is great, right? And they will come, but when they come, they will have such a different experience because that's what live theater is. It's a little bit different. And the moments will always be the same, but not the same. So what excites me is how is this show going to be a little bit different than the other ones? By not because we're forcing anything, but just because that's the nature of the art form. It's almost hard to pinpoint because it happens so often to hear someone react in a certain way. When Tara was playing Hamlet, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they were doing one of their soliloquies, and she says the line, am I a coward? She has this question, am I a coward? And an audience member went, yep.
You find that annoying sometimes?
No. Well, here, I'll let you pick up on that.
You love audience
participation.
Okay. Or more like comments.
Yeah, it is a gift in a lot of ways. If you want to pick up on that exact experience.
Well, again, like Shakespeare's time, audience, because it was direct address and you're looking at them and talking to them, they would have been peppering in comments all the time. Now, in American theater, we have been taught you sit there quietly, you clap when it is over, and that is it. When school children come to plays, very often a teacher has told them, do not act out, and so they sit there quietly. And yet, theater cultures are different around the country. So when I'm performing for an audience here, they tend to be polite in a very particular way. And so a comment like that was totally unexpected. I never expected it. It was a younger person. It was somebody who knew Shakespeare. And I had been looking at them and asking them questions, and they gave me an answer. But it just feeds you. You don't want anything to be disrespectful. I don't want anything thrown at me. I don't want people, mocking me. But that kind of comment that says, I am just as invested in this story, and I don't like the way your character's behaving right now. Ooh! Just gold.
Yeah. And it's not very far from nonverbal things that an audience has when you're not doing a direct address. Like when someone gets killed, your favorite character gets killed, and the audience goes, "Oh no!" It's the same. It's rooted in the same thing, same kind of reaction. But when you, as Tara is saying, doing a direct address, there it's almost compelling out a word sometimes, and but it's rooted in the same thing that you might do even in movie theater.
So, COVID disrupted the whole world and our country and our industry and our tiny little Shakespeare Festival here. It affected everything and everybody. But because theater is communal and live, it needed to be shut down for everybody's safety for a long time. And then when we came back, we needed to come back slowly. There were lots of interruptions, lots of setbacks. And nationwide, many people never came back. They got out of the habit, or they were too afraid to go back to a communal space. There are so few communal spaces left in our world. Everybody used to practice a faith of some kind and would have that communal experience on a Saturday or a Sunday. Many people don't go to that anymore. Many people used to live near their own families, and now we tend to scatter. So you're not going to gather that way. I'm so happy to see that in Winona there are lots of these, like hamburger night or hot dish night or whatever, like these things that kind of get people together. We had a waffle breakfast at the Shakespeare Festival. So it's not that it's gone, but those opportunities are diminished. And I think we are all starving for them. Whether we know to say that out loud or not, we are hungry for them. And this is one of the ones I get to participate in. I love it because it is communal in the creation, which is challenging because sometimes we get on each other's nerves or we want different things. And it is communal in the experience. The audience has to be there so that we can have communion together in that experience. But because of those challenges that we have all lived through, and I'm not saying that a Shakespeare actor has suffered more than anybody else, but we suffered in a specific way. So everything is scaled back. Our theater is much smaller than it used to be. We have fewer actors. We have fewer people building those beautiful costumes, fewer people building those beautiful sets, fewer people raising money, fewer people selling tickets, on and on and on and on and on. So those people who are there are working so hard to keep those fires alive. But it's a lot on each of those people. And we so desperately want our community here so we can all have that experience together. So we're still in that rebuilding place. There's so much that has already happened, beautiful growth that has happened, and so much more needs to happen. And I think Benjamin and I are really invested in trying to support that growth happening. And we're still in a challenging place right now. So if you've been on the fence about coming to the festival, yes, you're supporting us. Yes, you're supporting the theater, but you're supporting your town. You're supporting your community. You're supporting the Arc, this beautiful historic building that only exists here in Winona. You're supporting an ecosystem of independent artists because we all go work somewhere else after this. But if we keep this alive, we can keep another theater alive. We can keep another theater alive. And we can keep that communal meaning-making, which used to happen everywhere and now is only happening in a few places. We can keep that alive. So it's challenged. It's not gone, but it's challenged right now. Sometimes
approaching a Shakespeare play, you can run into a challenge because he only wrote so many, and he's not around anymore, so he's not writing any new ones. So we have plays, and not all of them are great, but there's ones that are really great, some that are really good, and then some will just say challenging. So we've visited and have been in plays before. Some, how many Midsummers have you done? My fourth Midsummer. This is my second. I've been in Hamlet 5 times. And so sometimes that brings in things you did in the past. And we also see them. I've seen, twice as many that I've been in. So sometimes that brings in so much outer influence that you're sometimes fighting. But the one thing I love so much about Shakespeare to embrace, and I've been saying this kind of a lot in the last couple of weeks because it's kind of how I've been feeling lately about Shakespeare, is that his language is the best, most beautiful part of his work. It taps into the human experience unlike any other writer ever has. But there's still so many things that the plays require of the artist to come in and create. And every time we're looking for what do I want to say, what is my voice, and what are we collectively trying to say here with the story. And that's what makes Shakespeare so exciting to me, is that you could watch one Hamlet and then watch another and see a completely different production. So you may have seen A Midsummer Night's Dream before, but you haven't seen this one. Mm-hmm. And so the challenge of really rising to the occasion to find the truth of that company, that ensemble, doing that, I think is something we charge ourselves with each time we come to that. And so I would say artistically that's a big and exciting challenge. I mean, it sounds so cliche, but there's a reason, because it's a good play. But Romeo and Juliet was the first play that I was really exposed to. And it was before I liked Shakespeare, and I was in a class that I was forced to take. And when I was presented to me by someone who knew what was going on, I'm all, it's just a play about a guy who's trying to sleep with this girl and then falls in love with this girl, and he's trying to kill that girl, and so kill that girl, that guy, and these gangs and these rivals, and I'm like, this sounds like a comedy action romance. I was like, this is no different from the movies that I watched as a kid or still watch today, And so that was kind of like my gateway drug, or my gateway Shakespeare play, because because then once you're excited about it, then you see how the language moves that story, and it opened up everything. It's what made me want to be an actor. It's what made me want to find out more about Shakespeare and who he was, and it's so that one for me. If you ask me today, I would say Romeo and Juliet.
It's an impossible question because I love different. It's like choosing between children. Like I can't pick. But I will just the first Shakespeare play I ever worked on, and I keep coming back to it because it keeps interesting me, is called Twelfth Night, and the subtitle is "Or What You Will," and the reason why I love it is that it is equal parts comedy and tragedy, like life. And you can be laughing uproariously 1 minute and crying the next. And the characters are laughing uproariously 1 minute and crying the next. And it showcases everything that is beautiful about what it is to be a human being, and also all of our pettiness and all of our meanness and all of our hypocrisy. It is deeply truthful, though not realistic. And when I was younger, I would look at Shakespeare and not being realistic, and I would be like, well, obviously they're not twins. That's a boy and that's a girl, and how could anybody mistake them? That doesn't make any sense. If you think about it realistically, it doesn't. If you think about truth, it does. So at the end of the play, this brother and sister who have each thought that the other one has perished in a shipwreck find each other. And you would think, oh, you know your brother. It's only been a few months since you saw him. That's obviously him right over there. Why don't you rush together and hug immediately, and that's it. And the girl won't let him do it, and she holds him at arm's length, and she keeps asking him questions. I'm going to cry talking about it. I'm so sorry. But it is because she already thinks she lost her brother. She knows he's dead. She dressed up like him to try and keep herself safe, but also to try and make him be alive in her. And then he's there. But if she's wrong, she'll lose him twice. And she can't. She can't do it. It's too much. So she keeps quizzing him and asking him another question and asking him another question to make sure that it is. And it takes forever. And if you try to make it realistic, it's dumb. But we all know that truth in us of, I have already suffered a heartbreak and I can't do it again. Or I cannot believe the beautiful thing that is in front of me because I never thought it would happen in a million years. And my mind can't grasp that I'm getting this miracle. We all know what that means. And that binds us all together. And that happens all over that play. It happens all over Shakespeare. But the first time I experienced it was in that play. And so I love that play.
I'll say about just the plays in general. As Tara was mentioning earlier on, we're doing one of the most popular plays and one that's very rarely done. You have, for new Shakespeare goers, you have a chance to a beautiful, fun, hilarious play to get your feet wet and to dive in and have such a great night. But then you also have this play that is so exciting, like Tara said, kind of like the Odyssey, but that your opportunity of seeing this play again is going to be very slim. Not that, not just like when we'll do it again, but it's so rarely produced. It's an opportunity to see a story that doesn't come around a lot. So to have a chance to come out and see it in the production is really, really well done. So there's really...
What are the names of those plays?
Oh, and yes, of course. A Midsummer Night's Dream. Yes, Midsummer Night's Dream is the comedy, the one that has been done a lot. That's when I said hilarious, and that Tara also talked about a lot of the physical comedy in there. There's unlike we've done in the past. And then Pericles is our one full of pirates and shipwrecks that comes once every 50 years. So if you want to see it, come out and see it. GRSF.org for sure. But also, we are right there downtown. You could come right into the building, walk right in. Box office is right there waiting to answer all your questions. They are in the building, most days open. But yeah, online or coming to see us in person.
GRSF.org. You can find addresses, phone numbers. You can contact the box office through the website, or you can find the phone number if you prefer to call. You can find that address if you prefer to come in person. You can select your own seats. You can see calendars and other events. We have youth programs going on. Sometimes we do talkbacks or pre-show discussions. Once a week we do festival mornings on Sundays. You can come and listen to actors, directors, and designers talk about the plays if you just want more information. So please come and visit us.
That concludes Part 2 of the Great River Shakespeare Festival with actors Tara Flanagan and Benjamin Boucvalt on Artbeat. A big hearty thanks to Tara Flanagan and Benjamin Boucvalt for joining us tonight on Artbeat. To learn more about the Great River Shakespeare Festival, check out their website at grsf.org. For more conversations on art, tune into Artbeat Tuesdays at 12:30, right here on 89.5 KQAL. For podcasts of Artbeat and other KQAL original programming, go to kqal.org. I'm Kristine Osorio, and we've just heard from talented actors Tara Flanagan and Benjamin Boucvalt from the Great River Shakespeare Festival, here on Artbeat.
Artbeat is written and produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.